Hey Austin, it's great to see you again. How you doing?
I'm great, Alan. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. I'm excited to see you back towing the line. We caught up with you just before your last bout, so I wanted to get your takeaways from that fight because it was it's an extra sudden death round, right? You had to go 6 rounds this time. Tell us about that experience and fighting in the Arab Emirates as well.
Well, Dubai was great. That was my I think third time fighting in Dubai, and they always one. It's a very safe place. If you've ever been there, it's very clean, it's very safe. Everybody's very friendly. Technical service is out of this world. It was a bit of a rough day in the office in my last fight though against Trinidad Snake. And the first round, I was walking straight to him and got caught with I think a check hook. That put me down momentarily. But if you watch that fight, that rest of the round, I was, I made up for it. Not on points wise, but just to let them know I was here. Honestly, for the rest of the fight, I was really walking him down, trying to engage, and even the little times that we got into the clinch, you know what I'm saying? It was like he was not trying to stand inside and fight. He just wanted to purely stay on the outside and box, which did, for a bit, make it a bit of a boring fight. But if you watch the film again, I'm the aggressor. It takes two to tango. And honestly, I think I brought up enough points because there was not another round after that first round that I got brought that I feel like I lost, especially being the aggressor, which I know they score for, right? And punching him more than he punched me, right? I didn't really get caught anymore. Nonetheless, in the fifth round, which I thought was the last round, about, 20 seconds left, I broke my arm, and I was so happy that it was over. But then as soon as I tell my coach, I think I broke my hand, they called in for the sudden death. And I'm like, yo.
Oh my God.
All right. And if you watch, I think I saw a replay. I used it like one time trying to throw it to the body. It just wiggled, and I just stupid. You know what I mean? And if you watch, I'm just right-handed, jabbing, hooking, jabbing, and I don't feel like, honestly, I needed to go to the sudden death. I feel like I won that fight with the first 5 rounds, but I definitely was making damn sure that I wasn't going to lose that 6th round. And I also remember the ref tells me, he says, in that 6th round, this round basically counts for the whole fight. Whatever happened in the past 5 rounds doesn't matter no more. You win this round, you win the fight. So, I took that very serious, and I was catching him at will with the jab, the hook, and hooks to the body, and a jab to the body, and he didn't throw, you know what I mean?
No, I'm not comparing myself to a pro fighter at all, but I did fight a couple of times really, really low level in London. And I just remember it was the second time where I got more comfortable. These are only, I think, 4 to 6 rounders. So I wanted to make sure I could get to the 6th round if I needed to. And then when I'm in the 5th, 6th round, I just want to basically use all of my energy.
Get it all out?
So if you do that as a pro fighter, how do you then, when you have to go another round after you feel like you've already expended all that energy? What feelings did you have then? Especially thinking you've broken is it a hand you said or an arm?
Oh no, it was broken. It was definitely broken, and really it was never at any point that I ever think I need to tell somebody so they could stop it. It was more like, all right, let's go. I got it. And wind-wise, I was in good shape. I wasn't exhausted. I was just really I had some good adrenaline going, especially because I just broke my arm. And Bare Knuckle brings some good adrenaline out. It really was like, just win this round. Hit him, don't stop hitting him, don't get hit, right? And really, the fact that he thought he won was crazy. I'm like, he had his hands up saying, I won that fight. Like, where? How could you have possibly thought you didn't fight? I was the only man fighting in that ring. And thank God the judges saw it, because they didn't see it after the first 5 rounds, but thank God they saw it the 6th round.
You did say it was a hard day at the office. I remember when we spoke last, you said about how when you first told your wife and your mum that you wanted to do bare knuckle after boxing, you know, they weren't too pleased and they wanted to, you know, it's fine when you're not getting touched up and you've been winning like you had to your career up until April. But when you said it was a hard day at the office, you know, and you got dropped, did those conversations with your wife and your mum, did they change?
For sure, because it's like they wanted to throw up when they found out I was ditching the gloves. But like my daughter too, she's like, all right, so when are you gonna stop? And I was like, let me go get this belt. I'm gonna go get this belt, and then, you know, we can sit down, we can talk about it. You can present your case, I can present my case. You're right. Yeah, and I mean, no one really knows this, but going into that fight, I had broken ribs from the last sparring session. Like it was a rough time to be fighting. Nonetheless, my grandfather ends up dying right after the fight, so it really was like no rest for the weary at that point. So that's taking its toll. My arm feels good. I feel sharp. You know, I think going down in weight's gonna be better for me because I don't have to fight these big dudes no more. You know what I mean? They'll be more my size, and you'll see, because I'm gonna get this belt and I'm gonna make it look real easy.
I was about to say that because, like, obviously, this is, you know, going into the Palomino fight, it's a rematch. That guy's only ever lost to you. You know, in BKFC, he's had one fight since. But yeah, this is different because you're going from welterweight back to lightweight. Do you feel like you've got enough intel from the one fight he's had since, to see whether he's developed, or do you feel like it'll be more in your favor?
I think it's definitely gonna be more in my favor going to a lightweight, because I have to train to make that weight. At 165, I didn't really have to train too hard to get that weight. You know, for 55, I can't stop, skip, nothing, which is gonna put me in tip-top shape. I'm fastest and strongest around like 161, 162. So, you know, it's gonna be better for me. Having the first fight, I do believe I have downloaded enough information, and not saying that I'm not watching film or rewatching our fight, because I am. But he's gonna have to make some drastic changes that I don't think he has the ability to make. And if he even does, we have been like working on ways to battle that. And for me, I just think it's just being an all around better bare knuckle fighter anyway. So I don't mind working on things that I'm not necessarily strong at, because I'm gonna be strong at my strengths. You know what I'm saying? And I am always punching the bags, and then I usually work on those things.
I said this to you last time we spoke about how, like, you know, the BKFC roster's got some really exciting fighters, but there's no one I don't think I like watching as much as you. And I think it's because of the boxing bias. You know, like, you know, I've followed your career when I was back in England, and, you know, seeing what you did in American boxing, you know, now being a champion in BKFC, I think it's awesome when you see like a two-combat, you know, two-discipline champion. But I don't think it's just me that respects you for that. The respect, when I've spoken to other BKFC fighters on this show, the respect level of the roster for you in particular is, you know, ginormous. So I was wondering if I'm gonna fire a few names at you, and I want to see what you think of them. So we'll start with David Mundell. You know, what do you think about, you know, he's seen as pound for pound #1, you're #2, you know, depending on, I might think I've got, you know, depending on what you do in this weight class as well, feel like that's up for debate. But, you know, what do you think about Mundell, Redneck?
Legit pound for pound #1, great fighter. He fellow southpaw, fast, explosive. You know, the fight that we're all looking for is to see Perry and Mundell go for that belt, for both belts, right? King of Violence and for the title. But definitely, I'm a fan. You know what I mean? Definitely a fan.
What do you think about Mike Perry?
He is what bare knuckle was probably made for. There's not so many people that are like perfectly fit for a certain sport, but Mike Perry is perfectly fit for bare knuckle. And it seemed like he was just sitting in MMA, just waiting for this to be born. You know, we like, yeah, let me do that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna punch people's fists and then punch people's faces. And you know, he definitely was born for this game. Or should I say the sport was born for him? I don't know which one.
Yeah, both made for each other, I think. What about Britain Hart? She's right up there in the women's pound for pound rankings, and you shared the card with her in Dubai as well. So, you know, did you have much interaction with Britain? What do you think about her as a person?
Personally, I love Britain Hart. She's one of my faves. Like, she's one of those girls that just doesn't care. And you remember that fight with her and Ty Emery was crazy, man. They just went off, and they really showed what bare knuckle is all about. It was really a hard act to follow, and then, you know, my fight really seemed lackluster because I came after them. Big fan of Britain Hart. She can fight, you know, she has a really good jab. She's always, you know, seems like she's eager to learn, so I feel like we haven't necessarily seen the best of her yet, and she can bring out the best of her. It's up to her.
I wanted to also touch on like the boxing game as well, because last time we spoke, you mentioned about how Steve Cunningham's got like a bit of interest in what you're doing. You know, do you think we could ever see him toe the line? Will he be ringside for your next fight?
He's definitely down to do it. You know, I don't know if he'll come out and to watch. They got fights in Philly though. He'll be there. Maybe they could give Steve Cunningham for the Philly card, since he is from Philly. I would love to see him toe the line. I think Steve thinks that he got it though, and I have to make sure that I tell Steve, like, make sure you go and learn that Muay Thai clinch, Greco-Roman wrestling, just isometric holds, because it's a different win. You know what I'm saying? You gotta. I'm still learning.
Yeah. And Anthony Joshua, you know, he said bare knuckle is his second favorite sport after boxing. You know, in Britain as well, like, you know, that's huge because soccer over there is such, you know, that's the bloodline for the country. But AJ doesn't seem to be too as interested in soccer as he is bare knuckle. What would be your sales pitch to AJ if he was ever going to toe the line once he hangs up the gloves?
Well, it's because AJ's on another level. I would probably tell AJ he should probably look into investing in the company. Toeing the line, like, who's gonna fight cheap? Who's gonna fight Anthony Joshua? Like, for real, bare knuckle. Oh, I know who. If we could get Derek Lewis. If we could get Derek Lewis to fight Anthony Joshua in a bare knuckle fight, holy smokes. Man, I just found I'm fanning some matchup. That'd be the sale. Like, what if I told you I can get Derek Lewis to fight you for like $1 bajillion?
Oh no, I'd be down.
Dog. I'll fight Derek Lewis and Anthony Joshua for $500 million, yes. But you know, it'd be like, you know, Anthony Joshua. I'm just thinking about how to sell it. He's a boxing fundamental. He loves the game. He loves boxing, and which makes, and we're gonna talk about this Jake Paul fight here in a second, which makes that Jake Paul fight just seem like the setup for Jake Paul. Like, Jake Paul's getting set up to get beat up. I think he loves and respects boxing, and I think bare knuckle is one of those sports that can coexist while still respecting and loving boxing, because it is the original way that we box, you know? So I think that's something as Joshua, maybe not fight, but I think he would definitely, he loves it. Why not, you know, pitch him to be an investor? And we have Conor McGregor and Anthony Joshua, you know, that's really like night and day. And then we start the podcast, like literally call it Night and Day Podcast with Conor McGregor and Anthony Joshua.
I mean, I'd tune into that as well. But if you put, you know, David Feldman in that boardroom as well, that would be a hell of a, you know, negotiating table, and, you know, with Feldman, McGregor, and AJ.
Man, that is a reality show. Please document that.
Yeah.
I'm giving out some gold here. I hope Bernie's running it down and put my name beside it when he pitches it.
Austin, I really appreciate you joining me. It's always great catching up with you. I'm really looking forward to, you know, tuning in to see you in the rematch, and looking forward to obviously continuing your journey in BK. I'll be there for the next steps as well. All the best on Fight Night, champ.
All right, have a good one. Thank you.
Lewis, great to see you. This is the first time you and I have spoken, so I appreciate you taking the time. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, brother. How are you?
Yeah, good. I'm looking forward to this fight, this rematch between yourself and Austin. You lost a decision back then, but that was at welterweight for the title. This is obviously at lightweight. We've spoken to Austin earlier today. He seemed to suggest lightweight is more his natural weight class rather than 165. But for you, how different will this fight be?
Oh man, well I'm definitely excited for that. I'm ready for it because this is also my natural weight class. It was hard to keep on that weight, to like power lift and overeat and to try to keep on all that weight to be able to come down to 165 with quality, and I still couldn't really quite do it. My body just does not hold out to weight very well. I'm not even a big 155er to begin with. You know, when I was fighting in MMA, people were coming down to 155 from like 190s, 195, 185. And I would never pass 172, 173. You know what I mean? So I'm not a big dude. I used to fight 145. With that, I tell you everything. You know, I could still fight 145 if I wanted to. You know, I just choose not to. You know, but I think it's a weight class that is favors the both of us, and it's going to bring out the best in both of us.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. You wanted to replace Trinidad Snake back in April, I think. If he withdrew from the fight with Austin, you wanted to replace him, even if it was late notice. You've got a full camp now instead. How did this fight come to fruition? You know, and why was Austin someone you were so desperate to run it back with?
Well, to begin with, you know, I've been asking for this fight nonstop. You know, I was benched for a whole year, but I was asking and I was driving them crazy about it. And then I finally made the decision to say, you know what? I'm spending all this money, like overeating, and then I'm feeling slow and sluggish, trying to keep on this weight. I say, you know what, man, I'm done with this weight class. A whole year waiting. I'm not going to keep doing this to myself, you know? So I spoke to Dave. I told him, Dave, look, I'm going back to my natural weight class. This is too much work, too much money for me to like be eating like this and feeling how I feel, and I'm not getting the fight. So I'm going to go back to my natural weight class. I'm going to get my throne back. And I got that fight with HD. We won. And then I did not expect for a tournament to just be made out of nowhere. And I could understand why they made the decisions. And hey, look, the company is the company. They're going to do what they're going to do. And I'm the fighter, and I'm going to fight who I have to fight. You know, it really sucks that the fight against HD wasn't my, you know, didn't count technically as a 7th world title defense. And that now beating Trout in this rematch won't count as my 8th world title defense. But I put it in God's hands that at some point when I beat Tenaglia, I will get accredited my title defenses. You know, I put it in God's hands.
I'd love to get into the tournament structure with you, but I did want to touch on, like, one of the things that's great about the way you fight is that it seems like you're so methodical and calculating with your punch selection and, you know, maybe throwing less than your opponent, but often landing more. Did you feel like you were able to impose onto Trout what you wanted to at welterweight, or do you think it would be easier to fight the way that we've seen you fight, you know, up 10, 11 fights in BKFC so far? Do you feel like you'd be able to, it would be easier to do that at lightweight?
100% would be easier to do that at lightweight because this is the weight that I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not carrying all this extra weight. I don't have to like suffer so much to condition a different type of, it's different. It's a big difference when you're carrying 10 more pounds on you. It's a huge difference, especially for as active of a fighter as I am, and the way that I move. Like I move a lot, you know what I mean? So carrying that much weight around, it didn't work on my side, you know? I think that now in this fight, you guys will see all of what you were expecting to see in the first fight.
I saw a few months back that you were watching David Benavidez train and spar. I'd love to talk to you about that because David Benavidez is one of my favorite fighters to watch. You know, I've got him as a pound for pound. I think I've got him as number 6 or number 7. In the whole of boxing, I think he's been running a gauntlet. You know, what was the experience like to be in the gym with El Monstro? Did you get to spar him, train with him, talk to him? You know, tell us about that day with David.
That dude, man. Look, apart from being the monster he is, like that name suits him very well. Apart from being the monster that he is an amazing person. Amazing. Brother, I never met somebody at that level, and I never have, at that level, so humble. He'll come to me and say, how you doing? And shake my hand. He'll get up and come and shake my hand like, you know, like, whoa. like still humble, I lost my cup. I have my whole winning set, my headgear, my gloves, my cup, that my mother-in-law sent me from Japan. And I went to go see him spar one day and I misplaced it. Let's just leave it at that, right? And he comes the next week and he heard that I was looking for my winning cup. He's like, hey, champ, hey, I heard you couldn't find your winning cup. And he brings me his, man. Like, that's to show you the kind of person that we're talking about, right? So like, he don't have to do that. You know what I mean? He came in, he gave me his winning. And now I haven't got it signed yet, so he's gonna come back from Dubai. He's gonna sign that day for me before I go to fight. But man, he's an amazing person. And he told me we could spar. They're like, no, we're never gonna spar. I like my brain cells right where they are. You know what I mean? The dude, if you see that guy sparring, you will never wonder how the hell he does that in the fights. What you see him do in the fights, you see him when he goes in those flurries and he's throwing all those punches, and it's not just speed, it's power and speed together. Brother, he does that every day, whether he's doing it in the punchy bag or in the mitts or in sparring. He does it every day, round after round, and you're like, where the hell does he get the energy from? Like, it doesn't go down. He keeps doing it over and over again. It's a monster, man. It's really great to be training around people like him.
It's such like, I think he puts opponents in a world of pain from the opening round, but it just gets worse because he throws more as the rounds go on. And his endurance and his stamina, it's just like there's no stop or any quit in him. He just keeps going until eventually I feel like he bludgeons people into submission like he kind of did with Anthony Yarde just recently. What do you make of the moves Benavidez is making at 28 years old, just running this gauntlet in boxing? If people don't want to fight him, he'll fight the next best. And, his resume is really stacking up against all the other modern greats right now.
No, and the dude is over here calling out Bivol or the beef. Like, the dude is like trying to run against the wall. Like, give me this guy. Let me show you how great I am. He's just on another level, brother.
There's rumors that he might even go to heavyweight. Do you think he'd have success there in a couple more years once he's kind of established at cruiserweight after, potentially beats Gilberto Ramirez? Could he be this, 2026, 2027 version of Roy Jones Jr. going from like a middleweight to a heavyweight, maybe getting a win there and then coming back down? What do you think the future is like for him?
1,000%, I believe he can, he will. Have you seen how big this dude is off camp?
Yeah. I've been around him.
He is. Like, you look at him and you're like, how are you making 175? Like, how? He's huge. It's a big dude. It's like half of him when he makes weight.
Circling back to awesome stories in bare knuckle, Franco Tenaglia, he beat Ben Bonner in October. We talked about the tournament structure earlier. The stakes here, beat Trout, you fight Tenaglia for the lightweight title. So what would victory over Trout mean for you, aged 45? Is it a big deal because it's a revenge win, or is it another win that gets you that step closer to hanging another belt on your wall that I know you have in your home office?
Well, to begin with, man, the company is one thing and what I think is another. This is what I believe. I never lost my belt. My fight with HD, to me, is my 7th world title defense. I never lost the belt. And my fight and my rematch against Trout is my 8th world title defense. So it means the world to me, not only to avenge my loss, but to get my 8th world title defense. And my fight with Tenaglia would be my 9th world title defense. That's in my eyes how I feel about it, because I never lost. And I think that's the least that I can think of myself. So it's huge for me. It's something I'm looking forward to. And I'm putting Trout away like I should have in the very first fight. I've made very, very big improvements. I am more ready, more prepared than I have ever been in my life. There is no beating me in this fight. If he does, then he's just simply the better man. But it will not happen. I'm here to win, and I'm here to win by a long shot. It's not gonna be a little like the fight that we just had. It's gonna be by a long shot.
I love to hear that. And if we've got any Wikipedia editors that are watching this, I think after the fight they could just go on and just change your the notes on record just to say 8th title fight, 9th title defense. We need to get this done.
Yes, sir.
One last one from me. Do you take any inspiration from Lorenzo Hunt? Because he's like you, mid-40s fighter. He recently came back and toe the line and put a beat down recently on Josh Dyer. Awesome win, because Josh, he looks like a Marine. He punches like a truck. You know, a lot. He could be Lorenzo's son. I think the age gap between them is probably like 16, 17 years. You know, what kind of inspiration do you take from someone who's mid-40s coming back and is still really, you know, one of the pound-for-pound top guys?
Definitely. Look, man, I give him all the credit that he doesn't give me, and I understand why he doesn't. It's because he has his little brother Brito, you know, still butthurt from the 2 ass whoopers I give him. You know, so Lorenzo gets got up in between, like where I heard, I did an interview with somebody last week, and oh, you know, you were not in Lorenzo's run, what do you call that? The Rushmore mountain. I'm like, oh
yeah.
You know, he feels how he feels. You know, end of the day, I'm the one with 9 world titles. you know what I mean? But to answer the question, man, yeah, it's great to see people at an older age doing the things that he's doing, and I congratulate him. And I even send him a private message like, hey man, congratulations, happy to see you back in your throne, because I'm a man, and as a champion, I understand what it feels like, and I congratulated him for that.
Did he respond or leave you on red?
Oh, definitely. He definitely, yeah, definitely. Hey, thank you, champ. Thank you, Babylon.
There's something about, like, I think BKFC is showing that there's just this trend. We've seen it in other sports. Tom Brady going well into his 40s. You know, we see it, I think, a lot in combat sports, though. Fighters these days are being able to push through into their 40s. It's like mid-40s is the new mid-30s. I've asked this question to a few of the other older fighters. They keep saying it's nutrition. Do you kind of agree, or is there anything else that we're missing in the modern game that is extending longevity for a fighter?
1000% to begin with is nutrition. And you got to think about it. It's different. We're in different times now. Before, a 40-year-old was like beat up, old. If you are disciplined and you are knowledgeable in what you're putting in your body, you treat your body like a race car, where the fuel that you put in is for performance. It's not just to throw something in there. So my wife and I were huge on health, huge. My water, to begin with, just with water, your skin is the biggest absorption organ that you have, okay? To begin with, my entire home is filtrated, okay? Every running water in my house is filtrated already in a whole filtration system. And then after that, we still filtrate the drinking water. We don't drink water from plastic. We don't eat 3 times a day. We eat twice a day, sometimes once. We do a lot of fasting. We do a lot of juicing. And we are very careful of what comes in our body. From the deodorant to the perfumes we don't use, to the conditioners, shampoos, soap, everything that goes and touches our skin is organic and real. All the food is real. We don't do processed. And hey, once in a while, we'll do our date night. And yes, we'll do it. But that's the whole point of living a healthy life from Monday to Friday, is that you can go on a Saturday or Friday night and enjoy yourself, and then return to your normal schedule. So I think it's the times have changed. And if you are disciplined and you are knowledgeable on how to feed yourself and you work out, man, you'll live a longer, more productive, healthier life.
Words to live by. Health is wealth. I agree with you know, all that you said there, and I'm living proof as well. I've recently been juicing and doing smoothies every day, and I've lost like 40 pounds in the last 5 months. So the weight's just about 40. So yeah, I'm fully on board with you know, what you were just saying. Lewis, it's really great to catch up with you for the first time. Really looking forward to this rematch. You know, high stakes, and I'm looking forward to speaking to you after this fight. Best of luck on the night, champ.
You got it. Thank you for having me.